Hi guys, Miss Walker here, and I'm going to go through what this week's practical task is. There are various links to YouTube videos, but I've discovered from making this video that it is better if you play them on your own machine. So what I've got here, I'm going to go through the practical tasks that are listed on the website. So what you've got here, you're going to be the role of the set designer, and you're going to create some set or either a model box, as you can see here, or you're going to create a picture and a machine drawing for the play, film, and book Frankenstein. Okay, and you're going to try and create what his lab look like. So this is a picture from one of the films, and you will see this film on the YouTube link to it, and you can see that I have tried to create some of the machines, the machine that brought him to life, and some chemicals, and the bed that he's lying on. There's a lot of misconception between Frankenstein. A lot of people consider Frankenstein to be, in fact, the monster. This is not the case. In fact, Frankenstein is the evil scientist who created the monster. It's Dr. Victor Frankenstein. So last week we talked about the vocab or the vocabulary involved in the job of a set designer. This week you're going to practice being one, and you're going to try and draw, create, and make a set for your production. Set designers in TV and film, sometimes those of them in TV in particular, don't always make the set at wood. Sometimes they've got a large production team, and it's carpenters and joiners who in fact help them with that task. If it's a smaller team and perhaps theatre, yes, they're responsible for making it. So I've given you the role of a set designer, and there's a little video for you to watch. You can watch it if you want. And it goes through a set designer from the Tron Theatre actually in Glasgow, and she goes through her process of all the considerations that she has to make from reading the script right through to her final model. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the plot of Frankenstein first of all. Frankenstein is a Gothic novel written by Mary Shelley. It was first published in 1818, and it tells the stories of a scientist named Victor Frankenstein who created a monster for a strange scientific experiment. And the monster is often called Frankenstein's monster. The monster was actually created from bits of old body parts, okay? And what he did is he actually dug up bodies from the local cemetery and sewed them together, okay, along with brains and things that he'd managed to get a hold of. And the fact that everything's all charged together by lightning makes the monster come alive. Now, this is a video here from one of the films. My playback's not very good, but if you do that yourself, you can see it off this. Click this link off this PowerPoint, and what it shows you is Frankenstein's attic was where he did a lot of the experiments, and that's why I've chosen a wooden floor for my particular design. And in the film, you'll see the roof opens up of the actual room, and the body is lifted up in the air, and that's so it can be struck by lightning, okay? And that's how the body comes alive. So what I've done now is I've given you some inspiration. All artists, all designers need inspiration. They need to do research before they decide on any concept. So what I've done is I've done a bit of research for you on lab and machinery. Some of them are taken from films, some of them are taken from games, okay, computer games, and you can see them here. So this one here is taken from the film, as you can see. You can see that he's got various straps on the bed for holding him in. That's the copper ball that would then charge by lightning. You can see that it's got various chemicals and flasks in the back of it. There's a sort of generator thing with coils and springs. You can see the machines there. There's various different lights. Very, very interesting. Okay. This one here is taken for a computer game. They have done a different slant from the table. They've actually set it in a castle. And if you want a castle rather than an attic, that's absolutely fine. And you can see that the stone wall of the castle round about. And the machine, you've got the bed. But at this point, it's standing up. Okay. And you've got the coils to create things. We've got a blackboard with some formula on it. We've got saws and things that might be used. We've got the machine again. And we've got the sort of chemistry set with the eyeballs and things like that there. So that is more of a modern lamp, and you can see it says items of 212 found. So I've taken that from a video game. Next one here is another drawing. This one here has got a chamber, and that's the creation chamber. That's where Frankenstein would have been created. Okay, we've got a bed again with the mancles, various different chemicals, test tubes, various different machines. That looks like there's a brain being stored in some sort of machine, some sort of books and a desk, sort of a lamp. There's another one. This one's actually got a white sheet covering the body, so there's bits of blood, whatever it looks like, some sort of chemistry set. Yet again, there's a machine for where the body would have been created together. There's a big kind of machine over there as well. You can see this one actually looks as if it does go up to the ceiling. So there's various different ideas here, okay, which you can take, and I've no doubt if you do some more research yourself, you'll come up with some more images. Now you can use these as a starting point to work for what you're going to do yourself. So I've also included pictures of machines, because if you choose option 2, you have to do both tasks, okay. So there is a machine there that I've created for Frankenstein, and a couple of images, and I've just literally got these off a Google search, okay. And sometimes the machines look quite modern, sometimes they look quite old-fashioned, so you can decide how you want your particular machines to look like. So your task now is to illustrate your ideas of what the lamp would look like. So the first one is you're going to create a model box. That's the first option. Now you have to do one of these options, okay. Now create a model box using cardboard, Lego, glue, straws, paint, or whatever you have in the house, okay? And I'm going to show you what I use for mine. I'm not suggesting you run out and ask your parents to buy this stuff. Whatever you have in the house. I collected bits of toilet roll tube and boxes that I was throwing out for about a week, and then eventually had it all sitting down. I was like, right, this is what I'm going to use, okay? So I'm not suggesting that you guys do the same thing. There are lots of really helpful videos online if you want to look at how to create a model box as well, or create Frankenstein's lab. And there's lots of helpful YouTube videos that will show you things about that as well. Option 2, if you don't want to do the model box, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to get you to create a detailed drawing of the lab. So I would expect you, with your sort of pens and paper, to do something quite like this, okay. It doesn't have to be quite as fussy or detailed as this, but I would expect some sort of picture showing all the equipment that would be in the lab, okay. And the other thing you would do is then create a picture of one of the machines separately, okay, what you think it would be, okay. Now if you want to do this and you would rather use a computer, you can use a computer to draw your image on. I know some of you have done that for your costume design. You can use a computer to generate one of your images on the machine should look like. You can draw it in pencils or paper or crayon, okay, whatever suits yourself, okay, and attach an image of that. Now, because of the level of skill involved in this task, I've given you 2 weeks to complete it, because it is quite a detailed task that I'm expecting for you to do. Excuse me, I'm just going to go through and explain a bit more detail about what is in the tasks here. So I'm now going to explain to you about my model box. Now, I had really good fun making this, and a lot of you hopefully will do this task and will enjoy it too. So the first thing I got was a small cardboard box, and I've been really lucky just now because I've been getting a lot of things off Amazon. So we had lots of Amazon boxes kicking about. So what I did is I cut off the 2 sides of it, leaving 3 sides. Now the back of the box here, you can see here, that's actually the lid of the box. So I've kept the lid of the box here and I've taped it up, and you can see that it's actually still tape on the back, the brown tape. So I haven't cut that off. I've cut off the other sides that were actually not needed taped together, okay. So I've turned it round, and you can see there, so there's the back there, and there is the 3 sides, 2 on either side and 1 on the floor. Now that's going to become the walls and the floor of your design, okay? Because what it is, you imagine you're looking directly inside this model box. So the next thing I did was I decided I'm going to make it stone walls, okay? Now you can do this with pens, paper, whatever you want. If you want to do it with pens and paper rather than, you know, cutting and sticking, you can get some white paper, you can draw what you want on it. and then you can cut your designs out and stick them onto the brown card, okay? And you use Prit Stick or glue for that. Now, what I did for my walls is I googled stone wall in Google, and I'm quite lucky to have a printer, so I was able to take the document into the image into Word, paste it into Word, and then print it out. And from then, I was able to cut it out and then stick it into the design as a back wall. Yet again, using Prit Stick. Okay, and Prit Stick, in case I'm using the wrong name for the stuff, is this kind of stuff. Okay, so, and I was able to stick it back onto the back wall. Then what I've done is I decided the next bit here is you were to make a floor for it. Okay, now I decided that I was going to have a wooden floor as per the picture, so I did the same thing. This time I actually googled wooden doll's floor house, because when you're talking about set design, a lot of the items that set designers actually use for model boxes are from dolls' houses, and it's because of the scale involved in it, and the sizing is actual right, okay? And it's 1 to 25, and that's what they use for making model boxes in theatre. So if you want to Google wooden floor doll's house or stone floor doll's house, it's likely to be the right size. So then again, I put it onto an image. I then printed it out, cut it out, and glued it on to the bottom of the floor. You do need a lot of glue for this. Sometimes one of the problems I noticed with the glue, it was absorbing it. If you want to do it and you don't have glue, I suppose you could sellotape the back of the box, because that's, nobody will see that, or use double-sided tape. So move on to the next stage now. It's time to make the props, which is the really fun bit that I really enjoyed doing. So the first thing I done is I made a shelf out of cardboard. Now literally what I got is a piece of cardboard, and I folded it into a triangle shape so it would have stability, and then I stuck it with sellotape, and then I got black acrylic paint and I painted it over the top of it to make it look more like a shelf. Okay, that took a little bit to dry, so while that was drying I worked on to the next bit of the task, which was then creating the bottles for it. I used a glue gun to stick it to the back of the shelf, basically because it worked really well and it was effective. Double-sided tape probably will work if you don't, or sellotape if you don't have an awful lot of things on it. Probably other things, you could probably staple it, but you would have to it would maybe be a bit difficult to do that, but you probably could. So there is other ways of attaching it as well, okay? Or you could basically create a hole in the back of your design and tie it on the back of your string if you wanted to create it. There's various different ways of attaching things. So I used a glue gun. If you are using a glue gun and you're lucky enough to have one, please ask an adult for help. I don't want anybody burning themselves, okay? So I glue gunned it onto the back wall there. So then I had a go at making the bottles and the beakers. As you know, in Frankenstein's labs, lots of these things exist. Now, I actually use clear plastic straws. I was lucky to have them. I know that there's maybe some issue having these things now, but I had them in the house already. You can use bits of pens. You could use, if you have straws of any kind, you could use this. You could use toothpaste lids or little lids of things, or if you have little nail varnish bottles, which are not very good and nobody likes the colour, you could use nail varnish bottles. There's various different ways, or wee tiny perfume bottles. There are loads of ways that you can get your chemicals, but I used a straw. So what I did is I cut a straw into little bits, and I used acrylic paint. Now acrylic paint's almost like a plasticky kind of paint, so what's quite good that it actually sticks on plastic and wood, and we use it a lot in the theatre because of that reason. So I basically got a tiny brush and painted inside, which then stained it, so you can see that's why they've all got different colours, and I've kind of made it look as if it's foaming over as well. For the beakers, what I did is I got a bead. It was a bit of broken jewellery I had, and I then glue gunned a little bit of a straw on it, and that became a flask and beaker, and you'll see them in kind of science departments as well. So for the next bit here, I then worked on the bed. The bed looks difficult, but it's actually very, very simple to make. It literally is a square bit of rectangle bit of cardboard. And what I've done with that is I've cut it into rectangle, and I then, for the legs, got my straws again and used 4 straws of the same length and glue gunned onto the bottom of the table to make it stand. As I said, if you don't have straws, you can make what's called a paper spill. And basically a paper spill is made from getting a bit of paper, I'll just show you, and rolling it up as tight as you can, okay? Okay, so that is a paper spill, okay? Right, when you roll something up really as quick as you want, okay? And that's what you would do for that, okay? So a paper spill is literally what it says in the picture here, and they're rolled up as tight as they can, okay? What I then did for my image there is I then took the things off juice bottles. Now they're the seals of juice bottles, okay, which are usually used to make connection, and it shows you there what they are. And I basically got them off Coke bottles or water bottles that were getting chucked out in the house, and then I painted them. The black one you can see is of a Coke bottle. It didn't need to be painted, but the other two at the side did. And I painted them with blank paint and just left them to dry, okay? And because of the shape that they are, they were able to just go under the bed, okay? And what I've done to complete the look, I basically had Fimo in the house and I created a little Frankenstein, just so you get the idea, or Frankenstein's monster, should I say. So you get the idea of what it looks like. For my brains, what I did is I got a bottle top, and you can see it was only a really small bottle top there, so I stuck it onto a cork and painted a cork as well. And actually the brain is a walnut that we had left over from Christmas, and I painted it to look like a brain, okay, because there would be lots of body parts kicking about. The machine, that was the hard part, took me the longest actually, and you can make your own, as I said, using toilet roll tubes, cardboard tubes, Lego, whatever you can find you want to do. Paper mache, anything, okay? I made the machine out of a little box that we had. It was actually a mustard box. It was actually metal. It was a metal mustard box that was thrown away. So I painted it black, and then I had various little plastic jewels which I managed to get a hold of and stuck them there for dials, etc. And I have some gold balls there. Now they're actually balls for doing crafting, which I had in the house anyway, but you could use ping pong balls, etc. Or yeah, again, you can make a wee ball out of paper mache, okay? And what I did is then painted them gold and then put them machine with straws, okay? And I managed to get a hold of a bit of wire, just to show the springs and bits of the machine. But again, if you are using wire, get help for it, because sometimes you might cut your hand on it, okay? But you don't need to use wire if you don't want to, okay? Pipe cleaners could be another option, a bit of a safer option for you, etc. Okay, string, coloured string, painted string. So there are loads of different ways for doing it. Okay, paper clips, all these kind of things, and that's my machine there. And my final model you can see there that I've created in my lab, and I really, really enjoyed making it. I'm sorry this video took a while to post, but it took me ages to make it. So you can see there that what I've done for my task. As I said, it's either this option or the other option. The other option, if I remember rightly, is here. So you can create a model box using Lego, glue, straws, paint, pen, whatever you want. Or you can create a detailed drawing of Frankenstein's lab and a separate drawing of one of the machines. Right guys, that's it. Any questions, you can talk to me on the Meet. Yet again, you have 2 weeks to complete this task, and I really look forward to see all your excellent work. Bye guys, stay safe.